The 2024 U.S. presidential election is days away. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are focused on key states. Recent polls show a very tight race. Harris leads in some states, Trump leads in others. Many voters are still undecided. Both candidates are campaigning hard. They are holding rallies and giving speeches. They want to convince voters to support them. The outcome of the election is uncertain. It will depend on which candidate can get the most votes. The candidates are focusing on different issues. Harris is talking about healthcare and climate change. Trump is talking about the economy and immigration. Both candidates are trying to appeal to undecided voters. These voters could decide the election. The final days of the campaign will be intense. Both candidates will be working hard to get their message out. The American people will decide who will be their next president. National polls show a close race between Harris and Trump. The Harris x Forbes survey has Harris at 49% and Trump at 48%. Other polls show similar results. The margin of error in these polls is small. This means that the race is very close. The Electoral College will decide the winner of the election. A candidate needs 270 electoral votes to win. 538's projections give Trump an edge. Their model gives Trump a 52% chance of winning. However, the race is close. A small number of votes could change the outcome. The closeness of the race reflects deep divisions in the United States. Voters are divided on many issues. These include the economy, healthcare, and social justice. The next president will face a difficult task. They will need to find a way to unite the country. The 2024 election is one of the most important in American history. The outcome will have a major impact on the future of the country. The outcome of the 2024 election will likely be decided in a handful of battleground states. These states have historically been the tipping points in recent elections, and this year is no different. The eyes of the nation are on Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, where every vote counts and every campaign move is scrutinized. These states are closely contested between Democrats and Republicans. The political landscape here is dynamic, with voters often swinging between parties based on the issues that matter most to them at any given time. Economic concerns, healthcare, and education are just a few of the hot-button topics that could sway voters. Small shifts in voter support can make a big difference. A few thousand votes in either direction could change the outcome, making every campaign strategy, advertisement, and public appearance crucial. The candidates are aware of this and are tailoring their messages to resonate with the local electorate. The most important battleground states are Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. These states not only have a significant number of electoral votes but also represent a microcosm of the broader American electorate. Winning these states can provide a psychological boost and momentum for the winning campaign. In Michigan, polls show Harris with a narrow lead. This lead, however, is far from secure. The state's diverse population, including urban centers like Detroit and rural areas, presents a complex challenge for both campaigns. However, the race is within the margin of error. This means that any last-minute changes in voter sentiment or turnout could tip the scales. Both campaigns are investing heavily in get-out-the-vote efforts to ensure their supporters make it to the polls. Trump won Michigan by a small margin in 2016. His victory was a surprise to many and highlighted the importance of appealing to the state's working-class voters. This year, he is hoping to replicate that success by focusing on economic issues and job creation. He hopes to repeat that victory in 2024. His campaign is emphasizing his track record and promises to bring back manufacturing jobs to the state. Meanwhile, Harris is countering with her own economic plans and a focus on healthcare and education. Wisconsin is another state that Trump won by a small margin in 2016. The state's mix of urban and rural areas makes it a challenging battleground. Issues like dairy farming, healthcare, and education are at the forefront of voters' minds. This year, polls show Harris with a slight lead. However, as in Michigan, this lead is precarious. Both campaigns are aware that Wisconsin's voters can be unpredictable, and they are tailoring their messages accordingly. However, the race is very close. The candidates are making frequent visits to the state, holding rallies, and engaging with local media to sway undecided voters. Every handshake, every speech, and every advertisement could make a difference. Pennsylvania is the biggest prize among the battleground states. With its 20 electoral votes, it holds significant sway in the Electoral College. The state's diverse electorate includes urban voters in cities like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, as well as rural voters in the central and northern regions. It has 20 electoral votes. Winning Pennsylvania can provide a crucial path to victory for either candidate. The state's voters are concerned with a range of issues from fracking and energy policy to healthcare and education. Trump won Pennsylvania in 2016. His focus on energy policy and promises to revive the coal industry resonated with many voters. This year, he is doubling down on those promises while also addressing new concerns brought about by the pandemic. However, polls show Harris with a small lead this year. Her campaign is focusing on healthcare, education, and economic recovery. She is also addressing the concerns of suburban voters, who could be the key to winning the state. Both campaigns are pouring resources into these battleground states. They are deploying volunteers, running extensive ad campaigns, and holding numerous events to engage with voters. The ground game in these states is intense, with both sides leaving no stone unturned. They know that the outcome in these states could determine the outcome of the election. The stakes are incredibly high, and both campaigns are treating these states as must-win territories. The final days leading up to the election will see a flurry of activity as both sides make their final push.
The battleground states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania are crucial. Their combined electoral votes could very well decide the next president of the United States. The campaigns are aware of this and are focusing their efforts accordingly. Both campaigns are focusing heavily on these states, knowing that the results here could very well decide the entire election. The candidates are making their final appeals to voters, emphasizing their plans and contrasting them with their opponents. The nation watches and waits, knowing that the future of the country could hinge on the decisions made by voters in these key states.
The 2024 election is being fought on a number of important issues. These issues are not just talking points for the candidates, they are the concerns that resonate deeply with the American public. From the economy to healthcare, immigration to climate change, each topic holds significant weight in the minds of voters. These issues matter to voters. They are the driving force behind the decisions made in the voting booth. Understanding what matters most to the electorate can provide insight into the potential direction of the country. They will influence how people vote. The choices made by voters will shape the future policies and leadership of the nation.
The economy is always a top issue in presidential elections. It affects every aspect of daily life, from job security to the cost of living. Voters are looking for a president who can navigate economic challenges and foster growth. Voters want a president who will create jobs and grow the economy. They are concerned about unemployment rates, wage stagnation, and the overall health of the financial system. Economic stability is a cornerstone of a prosperous society.
Healthcare is another major issue. Access to affordable and quality healthcare is a fundamental concern for many Americans. Americans are divided on the Affordable Care Act. Some see it as a necessary step towards universal healthcare, while others view it as government overreach. They are also concerned about the rising cost of healthcare. Medical expenses can be a significant burden, and voters are looking for solutions to make healthcare more affordable and accessible.
Immigration is also a divisive issue. It touches on national security, economic impact, and humanitarian concerns. Trump made immigration a central part of his 2016 campaign. His stance on building a wall and tightening border security resonated with many voters. He promised to build a wall on the US-Mexico border. This promise became a symbol of his commitment to addressing illegal immigration. Harris supports a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. She advocates for comprehensive immigration reform that balances security with compassion.
Climate change is another important issue. The impact of global warming is being felt across the globe, and voters are increasingly aware of the need for action. Scientists agree that climate change is real. The evidence points to significant changes in weather patterns, rising sea levels, and increased frequency of extreme weather events. They say that it is caused by human activity. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial pollution are major contributors to the problem. Harris has made climate change a key part of her campaign. She supports policies aimed at reducing carbon emissions and investing in renewable energy. Trump has questioned the science of climate change. He has expressed skepticism about the extent of human impact and the need for regulatory measures.
These are just some of the issues that are important to voters in the 2024 election. Each issue represents a different facet of American life and reflects the diverse concerns of the electorate. The candidates' positions on these issues will play a major role in determining the outcome of the election. Voters will weigh their options carefully, considering which candidate aligns most closely with their values and priorities. The future of the nation depends on these critical decisions.
Donald Trump is a polarizing figure. He has a loyal base of supporters. He also has many critics.
Trump's supporters admire his business acumen. They like his willingness to challenge the status quo. They appreciate that he is not a typical politician.
Trump's critics argue that he is unqualified to be president. They point to his lack of experience in government. They're also concerned about his temperament. They believe that he is too impulsive and reckless to be president.
Trump's strengths as a candidate include his name recognition and his ability to connect with his base. He is a master of media. He knows how to get attention. He is also a very effective fundraiser.
Trump's weaknesses include his high negative ratings. He's a very polarizing figure. He has alienated many voters with his rhetoric and his policies.
Despite his weaknesses, Trump is a formidable candidate. He has a strong base of support. He is a skilled campaigner. He should not be underestimated.
Kamala Harris is the first woman of color to be nominated for vice president by a major party. This historic moment marked a significant milestone in American politics, reflecting the growing diversity and inclusivity within the political landscape. She is also the first Black person and the first Asian American to be elected vice president. Her election was celebrated by many as a breakthrough for representation and a step forward in the fight for equality.
Harris's supporters see her as a trailblazer. They admire her resilience and her ability to break barriers in a predominantly male-dominated field. They believe that she is qualified to be president. Her supporters point to her extensive career in public service, including her time as a U.S. Senator and Attorney General of California.
Harris's critics argue that she is too inexperienced. They question her readiness to handle the complexities of the presidency. They point to her lack of foreign policy experience. Critics argue that her limited exposure to international affairs could be a significant drawback in a globalized world. They are also concerned about her record as a prosecutor. Some believe her past decisions in the criminal justice system could alienate certain voter groups.
Harris's strengths as a candidate include her experience, her intelligence, and her ability to connect with voters. Her charisma and eloquence make her a compelling figure on the campaign trail. She is a skilled debater. Her ability to articulate her policies and counter her opponent's arguments has been evident in numerous debates. She is also a very effective fundraiser. Her ability to mobilize financial support is crucial for a successful campaign.
Harris's weaknesses include her lack of name recognition. Despite her achievements, she is not as widely known as some of her political peers. She is not as well known as some of the other candidates. This could pose a challenge in gaining widespread support. She has also been criticized for her handling of certain issues as Attorney General of California. Her decisions during this period have been a point of contention among voters.
Harris faces a number of challenges in the 2024 election. The political climate is highly polarized, and she must navigate this landscape carefully. She needs to unite the Democratic Party. Bringing together the various factions within the party is essential for a cohesive campaign. She needs to energize base voters. Mobilizing the core supporters of the party is crucial for a strong turnout on Election Day. She needs to persuade undecided voters to support her. Winning over the undecided and swing voters could be the key to securing victory in a closely contested election.